Can you get your head closer? Alright. So, I was curled up next to my lovey like this. It's not my lovey, it's my son. Hi, son! But my ex would never do this for me. Like, for him, curling up next to him was just like, he had music playing, he had, like, I don't know. He always had to be stimulated by life or something. And my son just gave me the greatest gift ever, and I think that you should give that to more people. And that is the gift of just holding. I was upset and sad about something, anxious about something, and I said, I need a hug. And so he laid down next to me and just let me hold him. And, you know, frankly, I'll tell you folks, that is the safest I have ever felt of being next to someone who didn't need any sexual stimulation, who didn't need any, well, first of all, he's my son. I'm not going to do that with him. That's just gross. But maybe there are people out there who do things like that. I don't know. I think it's illegal anyway, so you wouldn't want to do that. But just the comfort. And so, you know, I do this for my mom all the time. I curl up next to her. And she's this little old lady. You've probably seen her in a couple of her videos where we just, you know, that's, I think, one of the nicest things, especially for elderly senior citizens, your parents, is to just curl up next to them and reassure them that they're loved. Well, I'm starting to become a little senior citizen, too. I'm only a few years away. Anyways, I'm getting older, and one of the nicest things is having somebody who doesn't require a relationship. I mean, we have a relationship. We have a mother-son relationship. But, like, so I'm on dating sites, and they're all this flirtation and all this stuff, and frankly, you want to know something? I always ruin it anyways on the dating sites because I'm weird and strange. I'm just too crazy for anybody, but, what was my thought? I lose my train of thought.
Like just being hugged.
Yeah, and I want the world to do that. Yeah. Anyways, I think my son's getting restless. He's like, all right, I hugged you. Now it's time for me to go do stuff. We got stuff to do. Yes, he does. He wants us to get things done. And I appreciate that. But I'm also very appreciative of just having, you know, I'm a highly anxious person. And frankly, I need to be hugged like 30,000 times a day, probably. No, because I'm not always like that, because sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to be hugged because I'm too anxious or too nervous or too upset or too whatever. Especially if, like, if I'm rushing to get something done, ooh, do not try to give me a hug when I'm trying to rush to get something done. Like, stay out of my path.
Stay sitting down in one single place and then, like, don't say anything. That's
yes.
best strategy.
Yes, exactly. Like, if I'm when like, we're trying to get out of the house, the best thing is when my grandmother, or my mother, his grandmother, when my mother and my son just sit down, they've like gotten out of the house, they're waiting for me out in the front yard, and then I can do my walk around and make sure everything's off, and make sure the dog and cat are okay, and make sure everything's safe and secure, and just, I do my walk around, but knowing that they're outside, sitting still, and because I have OCD and I have, like, little ritual things, they can mess it up by, like, going back inside or by asking me questions about inside. So the best thing is just for them to sit there and wait and not try to give me hugs, not try to reassure me, not try to do anything, definitely do not tell me to relax. Ugh, that will set me off. But, you know, as long as you follow there's a manual. We have a manual for me because I'm so weird that, like for normal people, it'll probably be very, very difficult.
I think it'd be very helpful for normal people to have a manual too.
For themselves, yeah. You know, yeah. Like if you're married or
appliances have instruction manuals. Humans should have instruction manuals too.
No shit. You know, and sorry, my language. So the kids, parents always say, wish the kids came with an instruction manual. Well, actually, kids are really easy. There's only 6 things you need to know for kids. Are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Do you remember all 6? Or actually, we decided there were 7.
Well, that's kind of like basic things, but humans have egos and social structures.
Yes, but
and
when they're babies,
right, okay.
when they're babies, kids, you ask the 6 questions. Oops, hold on a second. All right, sorry, I had to answer a question from my mom. I lost my train of thought every time I do that.
Hungry, thirsty, restroom, temperature, connection, overstimulation.
Yeah. Are they hungry or are they thirsty? Do they need to go to the restroom or have they gone to the restroom? Oh, I know what it was. The last one was muscle aches and pains. So are they sick or something? Like babies, when they're teething, they're going to be in extreme pain. You know, so if there's something going on with the body, there's some kind of ache or pain in the body. And this applies also to senior citizens and the elderly when they're starting to. Actually, this applies to all humans. I have noticed this. So I had a friend. I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but when we went on a road trip, and when she had to pee, oh my goodness, she turned into the biggest bitch. You did not want to be around her when she had to go pee because, like, she was the sweetest person ever all the rest of the time, except when she needed to pee. But a lot of people are like that when they're hungry. You know, the blood sugar drops. You know, that's actually one of the symptoms of blood sugar dropping. My father, he had to go on insulin at some point in his life. And I've grown up with hypoglycemia, so I knew, like, the symptoms of when my blood sugar drops too low most of the time, or at least back when I was growing up, which means I might be prone to diabetes later in life. But anyways, if you ever are with someone who gets suddenly grumpy, check to see if they've eaten, because that is one of the biggest signs that somebody's blood sugar is dropping. And so when my dad
haven't drunk enough water, haven't eaten enough, haven't rested in the last 6 hours.
Sleep. Oh, that's overstimulation. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're overstimulated and you haven't had enough sleep, so babies, if they get really overstimulated, they just need a quiet time, but it's also sleep. So I guess there's actually 8 things to look out for. So hunger, thirsty, temperature, overstimulation, muscle aches and pains. Have they had connection lately? Connection is so vitally important. That's how we started this whole this thing off of, and I don't know if I listed sleep in this batch already. Anyways, you can review it and make your own list. But those are the 8 things that you check to see how is a person doing. They're acting all grumpy. Check those 8 things. Are they feeling lonely? That's the connection. Are they feeling lonely? For adults, but for little babies, you would just check the connection. But so, anyways, that's a very important need. And we live in a world where we're online and there's very little physical contact. And there's these cool people out there who, like, gives hugs for free. I don't know if they, after COVID, if they did that or during COVID. And a lot of people, it was actually really hard because a lot of people, even myself, I was like 20 feet away. You got to stay 20 feet away. I was really terrified of COVID. And which was really weird because I'm a hugger. Like, when you come to our house, our family, it used to be, we don't do it anymore, but it used to be where we would give you a big family bear hug where all 3 of us, my mom, my son, me, I don't know if my ex ever did this. No, I think when he was around, we would do this. We would hug whoever. And so whoever's guest was before they left, it used to be whenever they arrived and whenever they left, we'd give them a big family bear hug. Yeah, no, we don't. Now it's just my son and I will give a hug to people. We don't always include my mom because I don't know pandemic-wise her immune system. She's getting older and stuff, so I do worry about it. Although if we ever get sick, she's gonna get sick too. So, but anyways, point is, there's not enough hugs out there. So find somebody where you can curl up next to them and, you know, say, hey kids, you know, have a big, not slumber party session, but, you know, where they all get in the bed. You know, that's really important, where you let your kids come in the bed and everybody gets to hug. And actually co-sleeping, which is another topic altogether. My favorite families are where they put all the beds together in one big, like, oh, this group, they literally made a room of beds, and the entire room is a small room. But the entire
Like,
room is bed.
is
The
just
entire
covered-
floor is just covered in beds and dogs.
The feng
and-
shui people be like, ah.
Yeah. Well, they have to feng shui their house, but it was, it was the idea where everybody curls up, and at some point we're gonna have to do that for my mom, where we're all gonna have to sleep in the same room with her, because it's just when she wakes up and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I am, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's helpful to people to have it where, and once upon a time, even strangers, like when you go for warmth, people would all co-sleep, and the hotels would have many different people, and it's wonderful for the soul and their being. And yep, hold on. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because Mom wants to go outside and sleep. So, but anyways, I just want y'all to know. Hold on, where was I going before she interrupted? Do you remember?
Sleeping.
No, my son's getting about first sleep. Alright, my son's getting restless too. Okay, everybody is getting restless. Time to go. Lots of love. Oh, getting paid. Renting a family. Yes, that's what I was going to do. So, if you need some physical hugs, no sex. Sorry. I'm just not into that. I love celibacy. That's another topic altogether. But, yeah. So, just, hug time. Should be available to everyone, although because it is such a rare commodity and we need to get paid, because we need, things. Have a session where, for a second, you get two people curled up next to you and go, hug. And yes, my son is older than 18, so it's not child abuse or anything like that. So he gets to make the decision himself if he wants to participate in that or not. And he might not. It might just be me. But, yeah. Anyways, just find somebody out there, any stranger you know, any person you know, any relative you know especially. Go hug your relatives. Go hug your friends. Go hug the strangers in the street. Offer hugs. And if nothing else, just, think hugs. Even if you don't give them hugs. Think warmth and love and hugs. Because, often, especially during COVID, I realized that just going like this and saying, I give you a mental hug and a mental squeeze and a virtual hug, that is enough. So, everybody, I want you to wrap your arms around you like this and go, we are giving you a mental virtual hug. And may that help you and bless you and heal you and help inspire you to give virtual mental hugs to everyone around you. Mwah. Thank you. Lots of love.
Smile to everyone you see on the street.
Yes. And compliment them. More compliments are needed. All right. Bye.
Bye, beautifuls.
Yeah.